The sugar really makes it. Woo! Hi, I'm Donal, and welcome to the channel.
I've been creating easy meals that make your life a little bit easier in the kitchen for over 10 years now. But this channel is all about a little slice of our family life and home cooking. I'll be showing you how to get the most out of your kitchen to next level your dishes for maximum flavor. So stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's get cooking.
Now, everybody needs a late night noodle quick fix dish, and this one is a wonderful one. It's kind of like a peanut butter mix, but you've also got meat in there, there's spice action, there's garlic, and then there's all these beautiful sauces that go in there as well. The best thing about this recipe is that it uses quite a lot of store cupboard ingredients. There's a few fresh ones, of course, but the store cupboard ingredients are where the flavor comes from. So the first thing we need to do is fry off our mince. I have some spices and some other things, but the first thing we want to do is get our wok on nice and hot and get a little bit of oil in it. I am using some ground beef here, but you could use minced pork or you could use minced chicken. You could use one of those vegetarian options if you want to. It's totally up to you, but you want about a tablespoon of oil to get things frying. Now, while that comes up to temperature, we are going to get chopping with a few fresh ingredients. I have some garlic and I have some chili, so I'm going to smash these up with the back of a knife. These beautiful chilies are ones that I pick up from the local Filipino supermarket that's close to us. It's a place called Seafood City, and they give you these huge big packs of chilies. And I always split the pack to make a really nice chili paste, and I save some for fresh use as well. So 3 chilies going in here. I want spice and I want heat. So we're going for a nice fine little slice here. If you don't like spice, do not add this many chilies. These are little bird's eye chilies, so they are super spicy and super hot, but I like my noodles to be spicy. And alongside the chili, which now is all over my fingers and I'm a little bit worried about, but we'll be fine, is some garlic. So smash the cloves with the back of the knife, and then just take off those skins. As soon as that oil is hot, which I'm pretty sure it's up to temperature right now, yes, we are smoking, we are gonna get in there with our mince. So straight into the pot. Give it the sizzle, and you want that smoke, you want that action. If you're not getting that, you're not frying really, really fast. But if you don't do this, you're not gonna get that crispiness you want on the beef. So mash it up, bash it up, and when it's kind of into nice pieces, we're gonna add in the chilies, the garlic, and a little bit of spice. So we've got our garlic cloves, we've got 3 cloves going in here. You can add more or less if you want to, it's totally up to you. And I'm just gonna look for a nice fine slice to go alongside our chilies. If I do have it, a little grated ginger in here as well works really nicely. So nice fine slice on the garlic, and I can smell that the beef needs a little bit of a toss and a bit of attention. So straight into the pan, into all those beautiful oils. We've got some of our aromatics. Give it a good toss through and make sure that chili goes up your nose. That's how you know you're in a good place with that beef, and we're gonna keep it cooking out. The trick here is to kind of take it to a crispy level. You wanna fry it way further than you ever would mince before. You wanna get it to keep going until it's crispy. So in alongside that, we have some Szechuan Peppercorns. I have some 5 spice powder. I have a little bit of red chili flakes if you so wish more spice. And that's it. So we're gonna grind these up in a little pestle and mortar. Szechuan Peppercorns are one of the essential ingredients to these noodles. These will make the difference to your noodle dish. They're tricky enough to find. You can get them online, you can order them there. Where else could you get them? Asian supermarkets. But the essential element they bring here is a numbing spice that you won't get with any of the chili you add. So this is what you want to add in here. Give that a good crush, and once you have a sort of nice fine powder here, we're gonna dump this whole lot into the frying pan. Stick it in there, give it a toss through, and the minute you add in the heat, the minute you add in that little bit of oil, it's gonna make it come alive and get electric. So this is where we're at, we're looking good. Okay, let's talk about the other spices. We've got a little pinch of red chili flakes. Again, these are spicy noodles, so we wanna get a sort of all-round heat. So we're getting that from the fresh chili, we're also getting it from dried chili, and we're getting it from the Szechuan Peppercorns. Next up, a little bit of 5 spice powder, about a teaspoon going in here. There's all sorts of wonderful things going in there. There's cinnamon, there's star anise, there's a little bit of fennel, and there's cloves. So this is a really good one, and oftentimes when you're kind of wondering what that extra special flavor and spice is, it's coming from this beautiful 5 spice powder. Right, give it all a good mix through. It's starting to get really sizzling and gorgeous. And you could leave it just as it is, but I do want to season this up with a tiny touch of some soy sauce just as it's cooking out. And to kind of get a really nice balance of saltiness, I'm just going to add a pinch of sea salt as well. And now you're at a point where the moisture has come off the meat. We're now left with little sizzling bits of that beef. And I'm gonna turn down the heat now, and we're gonna leave this just to kind of cook out completely and sizzle slowly. So I've turned it down to a medium heat. And while it's cooking away, we're gonna prep up some of our veggie ingredients. So I have some spring onions, I have some of these beautiful baby bok choy. Have a look at these. If you ever spot these, they are so great to pick up because you can add them to salads, to soups, to stir fries. They are so multi-purpose and really worthwhile adding, especially if you're doing a quick stir fry like this. All I'm gonna do to prep them, I've washed them, so I'm just splitting them in half. Okay, so that is the baby bok choy just sliced in half, and the same with the spring onions. I want a nice fine slice on them. So grab up your knife and then slice them thinly on the diagonal. They don't have to be super thin here because we're gonna fry them off, and we're actually gonna use some as the garnish as well. Okay, we have spring onions, we have bok choy, we have a little bit of coriander that I'm gonna stir through just at the end, but that's pretty much it in terms of prep. The last thing I nearly forgot to add into my meat here is a little bit of light brown sugar. So it's literally a teaspoon here, but this is gonna help to kind of caramelize and give you those sort of sticky, gorgeous, crispy bits. So give that all a stir through, and it's pretty much where it needs to be. I'm just gonna make sure that sugar melts all the way through. And as this cooks out, you're gonna get really gorgeous, crispy elements to this beef. So that's looking good. I do, at this point, want to taste it. So I'm just gonna grab up a spoon and see where we're at. I mean, the magic is in the little bit of time it takes to cook out this meat, because it is gonna give you the crispy element you require for these spicy noodles. The sugar really makes it. Woo! It is spicy, it is gorgeous. And it tickles the back of your throat because it has that numbing spice from the Szechuan Peppercorns. Woo! These are gonna be good noodles. This is pretty much good to go. I'm gonna leave it for just another minute or so to cook out and allow that sugar to completely melt down. In terms of other ingredients, we need to make up our stir fry sauce here. And I like the idea that we're kind of creating a sauce that can be mixed up ahead of time, and you can just stir through the noodles. I literally have, my lips are tingling from that Szechuan peppercorn. Now, to bring these noodles together, we're gonna make a very simple peanut butter sauce that gets tossed through the noodles, that gets tossed through the greens, and basically brings the entire noodle dish together. So into this bowl, I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon or two of peanut butter. It's a little bit too much. We're gonna add in a fairly generous amount of soy sauce. And to that, a little bit of hoisin, and then a very small touch of a really good quality sesame oil. It's that nutty flavor that you get from a good quality sesame oil that will make all the difference. So give this a good stir. So that is essentially our little sort of stir fry mixture. It's ready to go. I'm actually gonna loosen it out with a touch of water. It just looks a little thick for my liking. Okay, this is pretty much where it needs to be at. Let's grab out our beefy bits, because they've done their work at this point. So just transfer them out. And just look how dark and delicious and spicy they look. I mean, you can make it with just the soy sauce mixture and then the noodles, but by doing this, it really, really adds something special to this noodle dish. I'm just gonna wipe this clean with a bit of kitchen paper so that we can get back in there and do some more frying. So heat back on the wok. We're going in there with a little bit more oil. I'm using coconut oil here purely because it's the only oil I have in the house, but I would suggest you go for a sort of flavorless oil. To the pan now, we're gonna go in there with quite a lot of the spring onions, holding back a few for garnish, alongside our bok choy. Give that bok choy a good stir, and a little tip to make sure that it cooks out evenly is to grab up a splash of water and bung that straight into the pan. That little bit of water is gonna create steam, as you can see, and that'll help to kind of get a bit more of an even cook on the bok choy. So as soon as that water has evaporated, this bok choy is good to go. Right, that's our greens cooked, and now we need to move quick. So I have some rice noodles which have been soaking off here in some cold water. The best way with these is to soak them in cold water. Otherwise, they have a tendency to kind of overcook if you put them into boiling water. So pop in your noodles, and to this, we've got our peanut butter sauce. So all that luscious sauce goes in, and this is when the magic takes place. You've got all that sauce, you've got all the noodles, and now you gotta move quick, okay? So just do a quick stir around, allowing for those noodles to kind of heat through the sauce. And I have the perfect utensil for some noodle tossing, which are my aardvark hands, which make it a little bit easier to move things around in this pan. The smell is divine, and you know what? That needs no longer than it's already had. We're gonna take it straight off the heat. And now it's time to assemble. The noodle action is looking absolutely gorgeous. We've got some steam situation going on here, and I'm just gonna basically toss these straight into our bowl. Hello, steamy noodles. And now I want to make sure we get loads of bok choy on top here. So I'm just going to grab up my tongs and pop 1 or 2 of these over the top. And now I always think, you know, like you build the basis of a dish and then you start to kind of garnish with those finishing touches that make all the difference to making this absolutely gorgeous and delicious to dive into. So I do have some of our leftover spring onions, which I'm just going to sprinkle alongside some of that coriander. So just sprinkle that over the top. I always like the fresh bite of some spring onions over the top. Some people do not like that. By all means, leave them off, but that is up to you. The other thing I want to add in here is some crushed peanuts. So I have some roasted and unsalted peanuts, and I'm just going to give them a nice fine chop. Now I'm just going to rock my knife through these to get a really, really nice kind of fine chop on them. And it's that contrast between the sort of texture of the noodles in that peanut butter sauce with the fresh, crunchy peanuts as well. This is so, so tasty. It's the contrast of those silky noodles and the crunchy peanuts that are going to make a real difference to this dish. Now, I nearly forgot. We need to add that beautiful spicy meat that we've done all this hard work for. So you want to take some of that crumbly meat and just sprinkle it through. And the idea here is not to have a big meat fest. It's just having those little crispy bits that are going to set your mouth on fire as you dive through silky noodles, crunchy peanuts, and then this fiery, spicy meat mixture. So a little bit of coriander over the top. So those leaves over the top, and that, my friends, is a noodle dish to be proud of. If you're sitting down late night and you're watching YouTube, this is the noodle dish you want to recreate. It is so simple and so delicious. So much so that it would be criminal not to try some. So I want to grab up some noodle action. I want to get some of that meat in there too, and a little bit of coriander. The noodles taste peanutty and gorgeous and luscious just by themselves with a bit of bok choy and all that great stuff happening. But the addition of that meat, like I said, it's not about having a meat fest and you don't want a big pile of meat. All you want is that kind of crumbly texture, that spicy and crispy, that really makes a difference to the overall texture of this entire dish. This is my late night noodle fix. I hope it will become yours. If you want all the recipe details, as always, we'll leave them in the box below. And you can check out all the full method on my website as well. Hit subscribe to this channel if you want to be the first to know when these recipes arrive. And leave me a comment letting me know if you're going to try this delicious dish. Until then, my friends, I have a late night fix to get to, so I'll see you soon. Yum.